Rain poured endlessly that night, whispering on the tin roofs and puddles under the old bridge downtown. Beneath it, a woman wrapped herself and her swollen belly in a torn blanket. Her name was Aisha. She was 7 months pregnant, and the city lights didn't care who she was anymore. The sound of cars above her mixed with the ache in her back. Every night, the same hunger, the same memory. The man who promised her forever and left when life began to grow inside her. But still, she talked to the child in her belly softly. "You'll see, baby. Mama gonna find a way." Sometimes stray passers-by dropped coins near her feet. Sometimes they didn't. The coins never hurt, but the looks did. Pity, disgust, indifference. She had once worn a college sweatshirt, worked in an accounting office, laughed over coffee breaks. But life can turn cruel without warning. At dawn, she found a half-eaten sandwich near a garbage can and shared it with a stray cat. "You hungry too, huh?" she whispered, stroking its matted fur. The little warmth in that moment made her eyes wet. Then a sudden cry split the morning air. A child's voice, sharp, desperate. Aisha looked toward the river that ran under the bridge. There, a small boy was struggling in the current, his little hands splashing wildly. Without thinking, she ran, bare feet slapping the wet stones. She jumped into the freezing water, gasping as it wrapped around her. Her body screamed, not just from the cold, but from fear for her unborn baby. Still, she pushed forward. The child's terrified eyes met hers as the current dragged them both downstream. It broke my heart, yet I couldn't stop watching. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there right now? If this story already got your heart racing, hit that like button and subscribe. You'll love what's coming next. Now back to the story. Aisha fought the current like she was fighting life itself. Her foot hit something sharp, and blood mixed with the brown ripples. But she didn't let go. She wrapped her arms around the boy, lifting his face above the water just long enough for someone on the bridge to notice. Cars screeched, shouts echoed, a rope flew from above, and with trembling arms she grabbed it, holding onto the boy tighter than she had ever held anyone before. As they were pulled to the muddy bank, Aisha's strength vanished. She fell backward, her vision spinning, people shouting, sirens coming. Before losing consciousness, she heard a voice. "He's breathing. The boy's alive." But what she didn't know was who that boy truly was. The night air was cold, sharp, and alive with the buzz of passing cars above the concrete bridge. Beneath it, on a damp mattress that had seen more rain than rest, lay a young woman clutching her stomach. Her name was Maya. She was 8 months pregnant, wrapped in an old wool coat that barely kept the chill away. Every time she moved, the rustling of plastic echoed softly, a lullaby of poverty. She used to have a bed, a warm room, and mornings scented with coffee. Now, the only warmth she felt came from the life inside her, the small heartbeat that reminded her she still had a reason to live. Around her, crumpled takeout containers and discarded newspapers whispered stories of people with easier lives. But Maya didn't envy them. She pitied them, because they didn't know what it meant to lose everything and still wake up with hope. That night, thunder rolled through the city. A storm was coming. Maya pulled her coat tighter, whispering to her unborn child, "We'll be okay. I promise." Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from the unspoken truth. She didn't know if she believed her own words. As the rain began to pour, she closed her eyes, trying to recall the face of the man who had left her. Marcus. Wealthy, smooth-talking, with promises like golden keys that opened only empty doors. When she told him she was pregnant, his expression twisted. "My father can't find out," he'd said coldly. "You'll ruin everything." That was the last time she saw him. Now, as lightning flashed, she thought she saw something strange through the sheets of rain. A small figure near the riverbank, a child, no older than 6, playing dangerously close to the edge. She blinked, unsure if it was her imagination, but then she heard it. A scream. The boy slipped, arms flailing, vanishing into the brown, raging water. Maya's body moved before her mind caught up. She stumbled from beneath the bridge, muddy water splashing up her legs. "Hold on," she shouted, her voice breaking through the storm. Her baby kicked inside her, but she didn't stop. Her shoes tore loose. The current of the city's overflowing drains licked at her feet as she ran. The boy's head bobbed up once, then disappeared. Maya leapt into the river. The cold hit her like 1,000 needles. The current dragged her down instantly. She fought upward, lungs burning, eyes open against the murky swirl. Her coat tangled around her arms. She tore it away, gasping when her head broke the surface. "Where are you?" she cried. A flash of a red sleeve appeared downstream. She kicked furiously, paddling toward it. The boy was limp when she reached him. Tiny hands, pale face, eyes wide open but unfocused. Maya grabbed him by the shoulders, pulling him close, whispering, "No, no, no, not tonight." She tilted his head up, pushing against the current with one arm, the weight of her pregnancy dragging her down. Her breaths came in sobs, more water than air. Each stroke hurt. Her arms screamed for mercy. Her belly felt heavy as a stone, and the current roared louder than her thoughts. At one point, she drifted under, black water swallowing her whole. But when she heard the faintest whimper from the boy, she forced herself up again. Somehow, maybe through grace, maybe through sheer will, she reached the shore. She collapsed, half-conscious, dragging the boy onto the sand. Her arms trembled violently as she pressed her ear to his chest. For one unbearable second, nothing. Then a cough, a weak, fragile cough that sliced through the night. Maya laughed, crying at the same time. "You're okay, you're okay," she sobbed, shaking and wet. She didn't care that her own body felt broken. She wrapped him in her coat, pulling him close until she heard sirens in the distance. Police cars arrived first, then an ambulance. People swarmed, shouting, shining lights into her face. She couldn't answer questions. She could only whisper, "He's safe. Please, take care of him." As paramedics lifted her onto a stretcher, one of them said, "Ma'am, you saved his life. You're a hero." But Maya's eyes closed before she could respond. The last thing she saw was the boy's small hand reaching toward her as they carried him away. When she opened her eyes, everything was white. The smell of disinfectant stung her nose. The sound of a beeping monitor pulsed beside her ear. Her stomach hurt. For a moment she didn't know where she was, until the memory of the river hit her like another wave. She sat up, heart racing. "The boy. Where's the boy?" A nurse motioned for her to rest. "He's fine. You saved him," she said softly. "You should rest now." But there was something else. Through the window, Maya saw a black car pull up, sleek, polished, the kind only the powerful could afford. A tall man in an expensive suit stepped out, eyes cold as winter steel. He spoke to the nurse, his jaw tight. Then he looked straight toward Maya's room. He was the kind of man who didn't ask questions. He demanded answers. But what he said next would change Maya's life forever. It broke my heart. Yet I couldn't stop watching. Where are you watching from? And what time is it there right now? If this story already got your heart racing, hit that like button and subscribe. You'll love what's coming next. Now back to the story. The man stormed into the room like thunder in a suit. Morning light spilled across the hospital walls, golden and unforgiving. Maya blinked her puffy eyes open, unsure if she was still dreaming. For the first time in months, she had slept on a real bed, under a clean blanket. But the comfort felt foreign, like it belonged to someone else. The nurse entered with a polite smile. "You're lucky, miss. You and that baby are strong. Doctor says you'll be fine to walk soon." Maya looked down at her belly. The baby kicked softly, gentle but alive. "Thank you," she whispered. The nurse hesitated. "The boy's father paid your medical bill, but he also said you're free to leave as soon as the doctor clears you." Maya's throat tightened. He had paid not from gratitude, but from obligation. The message was clear. Take this charity and disappear. When she was released the next day, she stepped outside into the cold morning air, clutching her small hospital bag. The streets swallowed her again. The noise, the horns, the city's unkind rhythm. She walked aimlessly until she found herself standing in front of a massive glass building that scraped the sky. The gold letters above the entrance read, "Henderson Global Holdings." Her heart stopped. That name, Henderson, echoed in her mind like lightning through a clear sky. Ethan Henderson had been her fiancé's last name, the name he told her to forget. Could it be the same family? She turned away, dizzy, but just as she did, a voice behind her said, "Hey, wait. Aren't you that woman from the news?" A young man held his phone up, video recording her. Maya froze. He grinned. "You're the one who saved the Henderson kid from drowning. It's trending everywhere. They're calling you the River Angel." The phrase felt like a joke. She looked at her reflection in a store window. Sunken cheeks, cracked lips, worn eyes. She didn't look like any kind of angel. She muttered, "I just did what anyone would do," and hurried off. But as she disappeared down the street, Inside that same skyscraper, the story was causing chaos. In the corner office on the top floor, Richard Henderson watched the viral clip in silence. His son's near death had already shaken him, but now the world was demanding to know. Who was the woman who saved his child, and why hadn't he thanked her publicly? His PR manager, Carla, shifted nervously. "Sir, this could go very bad. The media's painting you as heartless." He stood, his tall frame rigid. "I don't owe that woman anything," he said. "I paid her bills. That's enough." Carla frowned. "The boy wants her name cleared. He's asking for her. He posted about her." Richard turned sharply. "He what?" She handed him her phone. On the screen was a child's handwriting over a picture of Maya. "Miss Maya saved me. Please bring her home. She's my friend." It already had millions of likes. Richard clenched his fists. He cared deeply for his son, Noah, but emotion was a language he had forgotten how to speak. To him, the world was contracts, profit, and precision. Feelings were weaknesses. He learned that lesson early, from the same betrayal that had broken his faith in people. But this time, it wasn't the media or his staff that pierced his pride. It was his son's eyes looking at him that evening across the dinner table. "Papa, when can Miss Maya come see me?" Richard sighed. "She has her own life. She doesn't have a home." Noah said quietly. "She told me." Richard stiffened. "What do you mean she told you?" "I heard the nurses talking," Noah admitted. "She was sleeping outside." "Papa, that's not fair." The boy's earnest voice cut through him like a whisper of truth he didn't want to face. He didn't reply, just stood and walked to the window, watching the night swallow the city. Somewhere out there, the woman who had saved his only son was wandering the same streets he owned. Later that night, Maya sat on a bench outside a closed soup kitchen. Her stomach growled, but she rubbed it gently, whispering to her baby, "Wait a bit longer, little one. Mama's trying." A shadow fell across her. She looked up to see a small figure in a hoodie. For a second, she thought it was another homeless man, until she recognized the voice. "Miss Maya." Her breath caught. "Noah." The boy grinned, holding a backpack. "I ran away. They said you left. I wanted to see you." Maya's heart stopped. "What? You can't be here. Your father." "I just wanted to thank you," he said, opening the backpack. Inside was fruit, a sandwich, and a small blanket. "You looked cold." She couldn't hold back tears. "Noah, you shouldn't have done this." "I wanted to," he said simply. "You're my hero." Before she could answer, headlights cut across the street. A black car screeched to a halt and a familiar tall figure stepped out, Richard Henderson himself, fire in his eyes. "Noah!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the night. Noah flinched, clutching Maya's arm. Richard stomped toward them, his expensive shoes splashing in puddles. "What are you doing here? Do you have any idea what could have happened?" Noah stammered. "I just wanted to—" But Richard stopped when he saw Maya. "You!" he snarled. "You think following my son makes you a saint?" Maya stood slowly, meeting his glare. "He came to me. I didn't even know." "Don't lie to me," he snapped. "I know people like you. You see an opportunity, and suddenly you're everyone's angel." Maya's lip quivered, but she didn't back down. "You think money is the only thing that makes someone kind? Maybe you've forgotten what it means to just care." The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut glass. For the first time, something flickered in Richard's eyes. Shame, or maybe recognition. But he masked it quickly. He grabbed his son's shoulder, turned, and said through gritted teeth, "Stay away from her." As they drove off, Maya watched the car vanish into the dark, her chest aching. She didn't know it yet, but that moment, that look Richard gave her, would soon change everything. The city lights glittered like 1,000 false promises, and above the noise of traffic and rain, she whispered to her unborn child, "Maybe saving someone isn't the same as being saved." But the baby kicked again, soft and certain, as if to disagree. And somewhere in the back seat of a black limousine, a billionaire's heart, long frozen by bitterness, began to thaw. Just a little. The next morning dawned bright, but the light in Ethan's mansion felt heavy. Maya sat at the dining table, surrounded by luxury that looked more like loneliness wearing gold. Every chair was carved from mahogany, but only two were in use, hers and his. Ethan poured coffee for both of them. "You worked all night," he said quietly. "You didn't rest." "I'll rest when your company is stable again," she replied, scanning another document. Your CFO, Trevor Lang, falsified purchase orders for over a year. He transferred money through shell accounts. Ethan clenched his jaw. That snake. I made him who he is. Maya slid another paper toward him. He made himself rich on your back. He looked at her, something shifting in his stare. Respect, maybe even admiration. Do you know what happens if this goes public? My company loses trust. My employees lose jobs. Then we expose him carefully, she said. Transfer everything legally before the board notices. Protect the workers first. Ethan's hands gripped the edge of the table. How do you know all this? Maya hesitated. Finance was my life once. She paused, then whispered, before everything was taken from me. A long silence followed. The only sound was the clink of porcelain. Ethan wanted to ask more, but something in her face begged him not to. Instead, he leaned back. You saved my son once. Looks like you're saving me now too. Maya smiled faintly. I'm just returning mercy. Later that afternoon, a voice echoed from the marble hallway. Dad! Dad, where are you? Ethan turned toward the stairs, and his expression hardened. His eldest son, Ryan Cole, entered the room. The sleek gray suit, the expensive watch, the confident smirk. He looked exactly like his father used to before humility found him. Ryan, Ethan said slowly. What are you doing here? Ryan grinned. Board meetings in an hour. Thought I'd check in on the family empire. Then his eyes drifted to Maya. His smile froze. The coffee cup in her hand trembled. Blood drained from her face. Ryan's voice cracked softly. Maya? Ethan looked between them, puzzled. You two know each other? Maya tried to speak, but no sound came out. Ryan's jaw tightened. Dad, who is she? What's she doing in our house? Ethan frowned. She's working for me. She's the one uncovering Trevor's fraud. Ryan's eyes darkened. Of course she is. He forced a fake laugh. Dad, this woman will destroy you. You don't know her like I do. Ethan rose from his chair. Then enlighten me. Ryan hesitated, hatred flickering beneath his charm. She's a liar, a manipulator. That's enough. Maya cut in, her voice shaking but strong. You left me on a sidewalk, Ryan, pregnant, alone. You don't get to call me a liar. The room went dead silent. Ethan turned, disbelief carving into his face. Pregnant? Ryan swallowed hard. It's not what it sounds like. Maya's tears flashed as she stepped back. You abandoned me when I needed you most. Ethan's expression froze in shock. Ryan, she's saying. I said it's not mine. Ryan hissed. She used me. Maya took a slow breath, pressing a hand against her stomach. Then explain why this child kicks every time I hear your name. Ethan's hand went to his forehead, his breath catching. My God. She turned to leave, but Ethan stopped her gently. Maya, wait. I can't stay here, she whispered. Not with him under the same roof. She walked out into the sunlight, tears falling fast. Leo spotted her near the gate and ran outside. Miss Maya, don't cry. Did Daddy make you sad? She knelt, wiping her cheeks. No, sweetheart. Grown-ups just have hard talks sometimes. Leo pouted, frowning. But you promised you'd stay till the company's safe. Maya stroked his hair. I will, if I can. I just need a little time. He hugged her tightly, and for a moment she forgot her pain. Children had that power, to see hearts clearer than adults ever could. That night, Ethan and Ryan argued behind closed doors. You kept this from me, Ethan roared. You left a woman pregnant and on the streets. Ryan snapped back. She wanted this. She's smart. She knows how to play poor. Ethan's voice thundered. You will not speak that way about her in my house. She saved your brother's life. She saved mine. What have you done besides embarrass this family? Ryan's facade cracked. You always loved Leo more. You always thought I wasn't enough. You think some homeless woman is better than your own son. Ethan stared at him coldly. Right now? Yes. Ryan's jaw tightened, and for the first time he had no comeback. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard it shook the chandelier. The next morning, Maya returned to work, though her face was pale. Ethan greeted her quietly, as if apologizing without words. They delved back into the numbers, but everything between them had changed. Trust had deepened. Pain had made it real. By afternoon, they found the final piece of evidence. Trevor Lang and Ryan had been working together. The betrayal ran deeper than Ethan feared. Maya handed him the documents silently. His hands trembled as he read, "My own blood conspired against me." Maya reached out, hesitating. "You can still fix it. You can turn this pain into justice." For a long moment, he didn't move. Then he folded the papers and said, "You're right, but I won't do it alone." He looked her in the eyes. "Help me rebuild from the ashes." Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile, but close. Together then. And as they stood amid ledgers and papers, neither knew that Ryan had overheard every word. His eyes blazed from the hallway, his voice, almost a growl, whispered to himself, "If she ruins me, I'll ruin her first." It broke my heart, yet I couldn't stop watching. The tension in the mansion thickened like smoke. Every corner seemed to whisper secrets. Every step echoed with suspicion. Ryan avoided his father's gaze, but his mind was alive with greed and anger. He wasn't going to lose everything to a woman he once threw away. Meanwhile, Maya worked late in the small study, her hands trembling as she traced numbers across the spreadsheet. She had exposed Trevor's fraud, but now, the fact that Ryan was part of it left her hollow. "How do you fight someone who once knew your heart?" A voice startled her. "You're still here." It was Ethan. He looked exhausted but softer, leaning against the doorway. In his hand, 2 mugs of cocoa steamed gently. "It's not coffee," he said, smiling faintly. "Thought you might sleep better." She accepted the cup quietly. "Thank you." They sat for a while, the silence between them tender and heavy at once. Papers surrounded them, evidence of the empire she was saving piece by piece. "Maya," Ethan said at last, "I don't know how to make this right. My son, what he did, there's no excuse." "You don't need to explain," she murmured. "Your pain isn't his sin." He was quiet, watching the candlelight flicker across her face. "You've been through more than anyone deserves. And still, you fight." A small laugh escaped her. "Because I've learned something living on the streets. Brokenness isn't the end. It's just proof you survived." The words lingered in the dim light. Ethan looked away quickly before she could see the emotion behind his eyes. Down the hall, Ryan stood in the shadows, listening. His jaw tightened as Maya's voice drifted out, soft and warm, the same way she used to sound when she whispered to him in college dorm hallways. But now those words were for another man, his father, his fists clenched. "She turned him against me," he hissed to himself. "She'll regret ever coming back." That night he made a call, a favor owed, a debt to settle. "I need something handled," he told the man on the other end. "Tomorrow, she won't be walking into Coal Industries again." Morning came, bright and deceptive. Maya woke early, walking to the balcony for fresh air. The mansion's gardens sparkled in sunlight. Leo ran across the yard with a kite, his laughter mixing with the breeze. She smiled. It was the first truly peaceful moment she'd had in months. Then a shadow crossed her reflection in the window. A dark car parked at the gate. 2 men in suits stepped out. Her heart sank. She knew that look, the kind that came before trouble. Moments later, the butler appeared at her door. "Miss Maya, some gentlemen want to see you. They say they're from the Department of Finance." "About what?" Ethan's voice thundered from the hallway. "Fraud allegations," the butler stammered. Ethan exchanged a quick look with Maya, then stormed downstairs. "That's impossible. She's the one who uncovered the fraud." But the men already had papers in hand. "Maya Ellis, you are under investigation for data tampering and embezzlement connected to Coal Industries' internal accounts." Maya froze. "What? That's absurd," Ethan roared, grabbing the folder. Yet there it was, her signature, on falsified documents she'd never seen. Someone had planted them. Before she could speak, Ryan entered the foyer, pretending shock. "What is happening here?" "You know exactly what," Ethan shouted. "You set her up." Ryan's expression was pure calm. "Dad, this is your doing. You let a scam artist into your business, your home." Leo appeared at the top of the stairs, clutching his toy car. "Papa, stop yelling. Don't hurt Miss Maya." The agents moved closer to her. Ethan stepped in front of them. "You'll take her nowhere until I call my lawyers." But Maya's voice broke through, soft and trembling. "It's fine, Ethan. I'll go. Fighting this now makes me look guilty." His eyes softened, full of quiet fury and helplessness. "I'll fix this. I swear, I will. As the agents led her out, Leo ran after them, crying, "She didn't do anything. She saved me." Maya turned once at the car door and whispered, "It's okay, baby. I'll be back." The door closed. The car rolled away. The mansion felt emptier than ever. Hours later, in a sterile interrogation room, Maya sat with her hands folded. The detective, an older woman with kind but tired eyes, studied her. "I've seen every kind of thief, Miss Ellis. You don't look like one. But the evidence is there." "I didn't do this," Maya said quietly. "The only people who could have forged that access were inside Coal Industries." The detective made a note. "Lucky for you, the man you saved, the billionaire, already sent his lawyers. You must mean something to him." Maya looked down. "He means more than he should." That night, Ethan stormed into Ryan's office. "I know what you did." Ryan smirked, not even pretending innocence. "Prove it." Ethan slammed his fist against the desk. "You used my systems, my company, to ruin her name. How could you sink so low?" Ryan's tone turned venomous. "You replaced me with her. She deserved it." Ethan stepped forward, voice deadly calm. "You don't deserve the name Cole anymore." But Ryan only laughed. "That may be, but you'll fall with me, old man." Meanwhile, Maya sat in her small holding cell, tears finally breaking loose. She whispered into the dark, "God, if you can hear me, let truth do what love couldn't." Hours later, the door opened. A guard said, "You made bail." Standing in the hall, waiting with exhaustion and fire in his eyes, was Ethan Cole. He handed the guard papers and looked at her. "You're coming home, Maya. We're not letting them win." She stared at him, disbelief mixing with gratitude. "You still trust me?" He nodded. "I trust the woman who saved my son more than the son who betrayed us both." And for the first time, she didn't feel homeless anymore. But their fight for truth was just beginning. The storm that waited would test everything: love, power, and blood. What came next would shake the Cole legacy forever. The night outside the Cole mansion was thick with tension. Thunder rolled somewhere over Manhattan, and lightning flashed against the giant glass windows. Inside, Ethan paced across the marble floor while Maya sat quietly on the couch, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she barely touched. Leo had fallen asleep hours ago upstairs. A softness came over Ethan's face whenever he glanced toward the stairs. "He's been through enough," he murmured. "We all have." Maya nodded faintly. "Truth will fix it, Ethan. But it's going to hurt." He looked at her, his eyes steady. "Then let it hurt." The next morning, reporters swarmed outside Coal Industries. The news was already spreading. Leaked documents, a family scandal, a pending court hearing. Ethan walked through the front doors with Maya at his side. Cameras flashed like lightning. "Mr. Cole, is it true your company laundered millions?" "Who is the woman in your press conference?" "Miss Ellis. Are you pregnant with the heir's child?" Maya froze, her stomach tightening. Ethan's protective hand rested gently on her shoulder. "Ignore them," he whispered. "Today, we end this." In the main boardroom, Ryan sat at the head of the long glass table, suit perfect, grin cold. Around him, the board members murmured like vultures waiting for the first tear in flesh. Ethan entered and stopped at the far end. "You've said enough lies, Ryan," he said. "Today, the truth speaks for itself." Ryan smiled. "Truth? We'll see whose truth survives, Father." Maya stepped forward, holding a folder. "This contains every transaction Trevor Lang and Ryan authorized under your accounts. The same accounts used to frame me. But you hid one detail you couldn't erase: timestamps that showed Ryan accessing them from his home address." Her voice was calm, steady, dangerous. The room fell silent. Ryan's smile wavered. "You can forge anything, Maya." Ethan hit a key on the laptop beside him. A recording filled the room. The CFO's voice panicked, desperate. "She made me do it, Ryan. I got your text. I moved the money, just like you said. I didn't know you'd turn it on her." Then the recording cut out. The board erupted in whispers. Ryan's chair scraped back, his hands trembling. "This means nothing. Ethan slammed his palm on the table. "Enough." His voice thundered like judgment. "You nearly destroyed an innocent woman, your own family, out of pride. Do you have any idea what your brother would have lost if she died that day in the river?" Ryan looked trapped, cornered. "I did it for you. For your respect. You never loved me enough. Ethan's expression softened, just for a second. Respect is earned through integrity, not deceit. Ryan turned toward Maya, his voice breaking. You ruined me. No, she said quietly. You ruined yourself. Security entered. The board voted in seconds. Ryan was removed from every position, effective immediately. The men who once bowed to him now refused to meet his eyes. As they took him away, he twisted back toward Maya. For a moment, rage filled his features. But underneath it, there was something else. Regret. Tell my brother, he muttered, that she really did save him. Then he was gone. Weeks later, the Cole mansion was alive again with laughter. Ethan sat on the porch steps watching Leo play with his kite. Maya sat beside him, her belly fuller now, life moving gently inside her. Ethan smiled softly. You know, he said, you could stay here permanently, not as my employee, as part of this family. Maya turned to him, eyes shining. You don't owe me that. He shook his head. No, Maya, but maybe you're what we've all been missing. Grace, among all this greed. She laughed softly. You sound like an old preacher. Maybe pain teaches faith better than sermons do, he replied. Then from behind them, Leo shouted, Mama, look, my kite's flying. He said it so naturally that both adults froze. She looked at Ethan in surprise. He just smiled, eyes warm. If her story had begun under a bridge, it ended under open skies. A month later, Maya founded the River's Light Foundation, named after the miracle that saved her life. It provided homes, medical care, and jobs for single mothers living on the streets. On opening day, Ethan stood beside her as she cut the ribbon, cameras surrounding them again. One reporter asked, Miss Ellis, what inspired this project? She smiled gently. Because no woman should ever feel the cold of the bridge while carrying warmth inside her. The crowd applauded. Ethan rested a proud hand on her shoulder. Somewhere in the back, Leo waved a small flag that read, My mom's a hero. For the first time in a long time, Maya believed in happy endings. The camera fades on her face glowing in the sunlight, the river glimmering behind her. A silent witness to her journey. Do you think she was right to forgive Ethan's family after everything they did? Or would you have walked away forever?